Can't this is in fact my fourth attempt. My goodness. Too much be going on. People need to stay out my way. You might in fact end up with another dead body. Possibly the dogs. I'm saying, and you're trying to get stuff done that ain't gonna ever work out. Me trying to get stuff done and then people getting in the way in the process. That was an opening joke, as in I'm right on cue. Where I started, where I love to start. But anyway, like, subscribe, ID in the Discovery channel. Yes, ID in the Discovery channel. The links are provided below. Get that Discovery Go app. You might in fact want to get that as well as the ID Go app. Yeah, and combine them together. I was going to say with or without a cop car, and yet on my last attempt in recording, I said that, and yet to get thrown off as in a blowed off with that sort of thing. Possibly in the wind. Just to make no mistakes of I could. Because if you starting over and over, as I say, what do you have? Possibly a failure on the way. As in me. Starting over and over with that. Because stuff, people knocking on the door. What the hell do you want? That's what I wanted to ask. I ain't even open it. I left them out there. So yes, the Colorado killer. The Colorado killer, this man in a photo, well, he was there. I don't know where he at now. Possibly in jail where he need to be stuck with that. So, yes, there he is. Killed his whole family. 3 individuals to be specific, despite it being stated that his wife supposedly killed one of the children. I think the man killed everybody and possibly even needed to kill his own self, as in the bye. Be gone with that. Bye. No flash with that. As in no tits is standing here and me saying that. But yes, with this Colorado killer, Chris Watts is his name, right? He was, you might in fact want to Google him on the research, because I'm known to be all over the lane and possibly G.I. Joe Jane, as in what I'm going to say, and me not completely writing out the specifics on who he is, but just questioning why he did what he did, right? Because I want to know. So yes, throw 3 scoops on even that, as to say I just served his wife and his 2 daughters. Chris Watts, 33 years old himself. He in fact had a love, passion, and infatuation for rough sex. He also had a mistress, he in fact put it to as well. Cheating on his wife. And his children not even knowing about that sort of thing, and them taking it to the grave, even in them not even knowing, right? Which could be why they're there in the first place to begin with, the children being put to death or whatever by the man in the photo I just am calling out and need to. Colorado killer, come get me, come catch me if you can. So the mistress, he in fact had, yes, I said that already, passionate love, sescapades. That's not a word, it just means escapade, mixing with sex, right? Sescapade. So with the mistress, yes, that was given in detail by Watts' former lover, a stylist. That's a mistress and actual, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Skip for a minute. So based upon accounts, again, by Watts' mistress. Let me skip forward right quick, because yes, the string is out of place. And I don't mean a hooker or a stripper. No. Watts, to be exact. So Watts, yes, he was charged with the murder of his 2 daughters and his pregnant wife. And he used the app known as Tinder to hook up with his mistress. He in fact solicited dates with that mistress, and his wife, yes, not knowing about it, despite his wife being so lovingly and caringly about a Watts. That is sad in itself. That makes no sense at all. So the identity of Watts' mistress, she's in her 30s. Yes, it's in her identity is in fact being withheld, is what I should say, right? But she resembles Watts' late wife Shannon, of 34 years old. These people are rather young, aren't they? But they look so much more older than me. I'm saying I'm around that age, and yet they look so much more older than me. Many people do. So, yes, okay, so the mistress identity, they won't out her identity, and yet she's in her 30s, and yet she looks just like the wife of Watts. The same woman this man went and cheated on his wife with, that same woman looks like the same woman he murdered. So what, she was going to be a replacement or something? And yet to not have enough love for her, as in the mistress, is for even that to be shown, recognized, and known, as in what comes later, what I'm going to speak about. What the man has did, yes, and done, it just doesn't purely make sense. None of this stuff, sometimes people's situations don't make sense. Why would you go get with a woman, cheat on your wife, and the woman and your wife look alike, and then you murder your wife, and then still not want the mistress? Oh, sex. I forgot. My fault. I said that in the opening. Wild sex. But let me see. The mistress revealed she had an affair with Watts for 6 weeks. Yes, his mistress, in fact, revealed that she had an affair with him for 6 weeks in May and in June. Yes, she did. The mistress of Watts shared how he would choke me in the throat during intercourse. That's what the mistress herself stated. He would in fact choke her. That's that wild sex, right? And the pleasure and enjoyment about that sort of thing, or with that sort of thing. He would choke me in the throat during intercourse. And then she continued on with, now that I know who he is, I get chills throughout my body. That's what the mistress is saying. She now gets chills throughout her body, now knowing that the Colorado killer, Chris Watts himself, had been caught. Because supposedly the mistress didn't know about the murders pertaining to Watts killing his own family over her. Is that or is that not a truth? I allow you, the viewer, to scope in on even that, and you tell me. Leave it in the comment section, because that's off in awareness. I'm saying my own where I can't even fully see. The creep or something with that. To lay in bed is to say Luther Vandross might in fact be there yet. Who knows with that, right? But yeah, so she goes on to say, I didn't fear too much until he went for my throat by choking me. So basically in the beginning, she didn't really have a fear for him. This mistress, I'm saying. That's who the conversation, yes, completely points to, because to have murder be involved is to say, not only because she had played a part in it, as in she did, but she didn't have a hand in it fully, just her body being naked, right? Laying down. But the reason of why, the mess and the abstraction. So let me rewind back. She goes on to say, I didn't fear too much until he went for my throat, choking me. I was freaked out by all. His rape fantasies were unbelievable. I can't believe how kinky he could be. This mistress claimed to not have known anything about this man, despite her using Tinder as an app to be involved with him and dating and all the rest. That's why I'm guessing you should be a little bit more careful and a little bit more leery sitting on apps trying to greet people and do freaky deep things with them and not knowing them, as in sometimes what happens later, as in what comes out, and murder being the process of it all, and yet you being involved, and yet you're not finding out till later as well. That it in fact take place. This mistress claimed to know nothing. Maybe she didn't, I don't know. So the mistress of Watts felt the sex acts between them consisted of very animalistic, yes, the deeds with that. And Watts, she stated Watts would become someone else in the bedroom, as in he wasn't the same man he was on arrival. You'll see. When Watts entered the bedroom, and them being secret playful lovers or whatever, he wasn't the same man on the other side of the door once he was inside of the room. He became something else. And so to speak on it is to tell that sort of thing. And I'm thinking to myself, why would you allow fear to come later? I mean, yes, people in fact do role play. BDSM, role play. You got sadists out here, sadists, and they like to inflict pain on people in the bedroom, sex and all that, right? But there in fact is role playing, where people dress up as this and they go in the bedroom, have sex or whatever, but they play as these different roles before they do it, get down and dirty and loose with all that, right? But I'm thinking in that even intuition has to go off, but not everybody uses it. But I'm thinking once she got into the room with him, I'm thinking I would have been a little bit on alert, because remember, you did meet and greet him through that app, Tinder. I'm saying this because seeming he changed up his identity once he was in the bedroom with her, and her saying that he became someone else. I would have been in question, knowing that we met through Tinder and all that. I would have been questioning much more, as in what else more could he be, and yet he's not telling me. I think differently than most people. Some people don't. They would care not to know. They would just be off into the sex exploration, and I get him on that. But with this sort of thing, yeah, you would want to know what else is there, right? But yeah, so let me rewind back on that. So she said that he will become someone else. He was zoned out through all during a sex, and yes, there's sexual situations and all that in the bedroom while he was becoming someone else, while penetrating her and all the rest, right? He was zoned out through all. Completely zone out and take on something else. And while he was doing that, becoming someone else and zoning out with that in the process, he wouldn't cuddle or anything. That wasn't at all him to do such. He was just loving and adoring and admiration of the rough sex, that animalistic process with that. Why would you wanna, unless you really into that, unless you're, I'm not saying whorish. I keep saying because I'm tripping on my words, trying to get to where I'm trying to go. And yet ain't no grocery bag here with that, and yet some delectables and what I'm about to say. Some women, in fact, do like to sleep around with random men, random times of the day, as in even going on Tinder and other places, Facebook. All across social media, women do that sort of thing. So I'm not saying a woman is whorish, no. But I'm wondering, why would you want to get involved with a man like that if, say, you are prone to be highly emotional? Many women are wanting to love and cuddle, and yet be in bed with somebody that ain't into that sort of thing. I'm just saying that because public scrutiny can play out. Because what the public will do is they'll ask, well, why were you the mistress in the first place? Or are you just whorish yourself? Trust and believe that's what the public, in fact, does. As in, they await to do that sort of thing. The mistress tactic and all that, as in public scrutiny. One should become famous even off of a killer or all that. They will in fact ask, well, why were you a mistress in the first place? But not only that, was you just there to begin with the whole getting involved with him just to be a whore? Because I know he had a wife there and loving children is to ask that sort of thing, right? And so I'm basically, all I'm trying to get to is, wasn't that to be expected, is what I'm trying to say. Despite this woman coming out saying that she feared him, as in she found out later about the murders and all that, she didn't know before, and she didn't know during sex that he can be that way, changing up into different things and all that, right? I'm thinking to myself, wasn't that to be expected? Because remember, you're a mistress. So anything is to in fact be expected. That's why you shouldn't want to creep around, because anything can come with that. As impose and possibly tragedy. I said that for the second time. It's a reason. It's a lesson even in the season, I'm saying. So, yes, and possibly sought. Throwing it on a womb or even a mistress. Sorry about that. Just had to say it. So, yes, Frederick, Colorado. Watts. He, in fact, resided 30 miles away from his mistress, of where she lived. Her place of living, yes, was 30 miles away from his. And he would use his charm to take her out on dates, which included fast food chains. Let me tell you, that's everyday people and not celebrity type of things. Celebrities go there too. Yes, they in fact do. But I'm just saying, the average everyday and woman like the fast food and the dates. I would question a little bit more up underneath that, and yet it's not enough time. So let me just hold off on even that. But yes, they would in fact go on these dates to fast food establishments such as a Chick-fil-A and a pizza spot. Should I or should I not out what I was going to say, as in the reason outside of average everyday people going to these sort of places, as in I like to go to rallies. I in fact do. Despite me being a vegetarian, sometimes I in fact like a fat burger, right? And possibly a Whopper, Burger King, right? But anytime a man, trust and believe, anytime a man has a mistress, he could be well off and establish his own end with money. Oftentimes men that have mistresses or a mistress, they like to take places where they're more likely not going to be seen, despite it being those places, such as a pizza spot and a Chick-fil-A or possibly McDonald's, Taco Bell, or whatever. Those places are flooded with everyday men and women just as much as Walmart, right? And yet to go in the right specific location is to know you more likely are not going to be seen by people you know, and more likely your wife included. Which is why sometimes people that have money that cheat on their wives with a mistress, they oftentimes go to those sort of places. Because even a pizza spot is a hot spot if you take her out of town somewhere and it's far away from your wife and all the public that know you, right? That's why, guys, yes, it's more low scale than high scale is what I'm trying to say. And yet would an average everyday person or even a person with money be found seen in a upscale type of restaurant with a mistress? Possibly so. But with mistress comes a hideaway spot. Various hideaway spots and even hotels and all the rest pertaining to the sex matter, right? I had to throw that in about the hookups and all that, because some people don't even be knowing that even their own husband and wife be cheating in the same type of manner, despite not murder being involved, as in where people will go off and do stuff, even over at a Chick-fil-A or Chick-fil-A. I always say Chicken-fil-A, and yes, that's hood term. It's Chick-fil-A, right? I'm thinking this mistress should have expected everything she in fact received. I'm saying the blunt force of even that. Not forced entry, no. Not that. Her awareness, finding out what she did. But anyway, the mistress, she didn't feel anything was off about Watts. As in, again, he didn't appear strange or violent while they would meet up during these hookups. They would in fact meet up on average around 3 times a week. But the mistress noticed something sketchy about Watts. He was always sneaking about and sneaking around. I wonder what that means. Possibly other women. Right. I wrote it. Yes, I in fact wrote it into detail. Yes, I in fact did, right? But to lead even you, the viewer, in much more further is for me to even question it. Makes it even more steamy, as in, yeah, the extreme on my end. Spicing in and sweetening up the juice in the sauce before it comes on the plate. Possibly not from Chick-fil-A. Hell no, right? But I love that. Yes, that's one of my spots as well. But yeah, I had to throw that in. It makes it juicy. Keeps you waiting on your seat, right? But yeah, so pertaining to the sneaking around of Watts and this mistress knowing about it. During that time, the mistress, she didn't take Watts' odd behavior of sneaking around to heart. I done repeated like 5 times that, because I'm just clueless about that, and I don't mean the movie. How could you not know that something didn't seem or feel right? That's to say you're bypassing your internal GPS, even if you're cheating along the way, even outside on the border of a city or state. While you're at a hotel room, possibly fashionable or low-key motel, cheap, Red Roof Inn or something like that, right? How could she not know that? She didn't sense nothing odd about this man. And also, the mistress stated about the sneaking around, she didn't take it to heart. One of the main specific reasons of why she didn't take his odd behavior to heart is because she had no interest of going steady with him. She had no interest of having a full-blown relationship. So basically, she's just saying that she's a whore or something. I'm not saying that sort of thing specifically, but I'm saying that's what that would in fact point out to the mind of the public. My goodness, I know just what I'm talking about as, and I'm knowing what I'm just saying, and even in verbal expression of what I'm going, cause to work PR and all that other stuff in mass media is to know just right as in keep going and flowing on my end to yours, the viewer. Woman is being perceived as a whore, and she more likely is and is not saying. So, as time went on, she noticed romance was slowly fading from his end to hers. The love was fading, and wasn't that to be expected as well if you was just there to say be not steady and yet just be with him, right? That's brutal in itself. I'm saying it's cracking my lips as I'm standing here, and I might in fact need chapstick, and yet not he is. No way would I want even his dick on my face is all I'm trying to say. That shows you how playful I can be with even jokes, right? But yes, I do standing here need some chapstick. That's off the hook. So you're gonna fall in love to fall out of love, and yet he wasn't even in love. He wasn't on none of that. She knew that. Come on now. So she opened her eyes to the fact that Watts was using her just for sex and pleasure, and therefore she dumped him. The mistress in fact dumped the Colorado killer. I wonder if she even knows that he goes by that name. That could have been the bedroom name. No, that could have been while role playing is going on, role playing. If you don't know what that is, search that up. Do a Google Scholar on that. Role play, dressing up and all that. That could have been one of his alter egos in the bedroom. Colorado killer. Cause to put it down real good on the woman is to know she ain't gonna want to leave, right? Which could be why the story is out now and today in 2018. Colorado killer banging her out. Call me what, baby? I'm what, baby? Yeah, that's right. Colorado killer. That's off the hook. That's a sadist approach. Sadist. So fast forward. Let me fast forward. Once Watts was arrested, the mistress noticed. She in fact noticed who he was after he was arrested. And yet noticed nothing before. I just keep getting stuck on that. And yet I should. You ain't noticed nothing. You wait till after the man is arrested to now notice things. Now all of a sudden it's all coming back to me now with that. Is that or is that not a song? Huh. I wouldn't even know about that. But yeah, so with that, that's off the hook. She said that she couldn't live with herself and seeing him. After he was arrested, this same mistress that took the time to play My Little Pony in the bedroom, trust and believe she was role playing as well. I can see straight through even that. As in a toe tag, where it's telling that even this mistress possibly was more than likely doing love type of gentle roles and less gentle in the rough sex, and possibly on the carpet or playing My Little Pony, and possibly even, yes, Cabbage Patch with that sort of thing. Who knows, right? You don't ever even know how lovers get down is what I'm trying to say. And yes, she want to say she couldn't live with herself. And still can't today, knowing that he did what he did, killing his whole family. She made the claim that Watts lied from the beginning. She's trying to say basically he was a liar from the beginning. And yet I'm thinking even she had to have been a liar from the beginning. Because something about this story, I don't know. It's missing a placemat is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. I'll allow you, the viewer, to figure that one out. I'm saying the placemat that's missing is possibly even her own mugshot needing to be up above my own head. Cause something, it's almost sound like cahoots or something. So anyway, coming to find out, the profile photo of Watts on Tinder. His profile photo on Tinder was not Watts, no, it was another man. He told the mistress that he was separated from his wife and that he had no children. Somebody bring me a Kit Kat. I'm saying because the longer I go with this, the more hungry I'm getting. trying to pick and pull this apart with no false teeth involved. No false teeth. Saying ain't no lies over here, they possibly over there where she's. You need to in fact be wide awake, as in, dear people, the public, wake up. Because for this to come out like this, the whole coming to find out the profile photo of Watts on Tinder was not Watts. No, it was another man. And he told the mistress that he was not, he told the mistress he was separated from his wife and that he had no children. What is up with this mistress and her mindset and the configuration as in being able to solve a crime as it's happening? I'm trying to say the mistress and her figuring out this Watts individual. The hell is wrong with this? Saying I might in fact need to take a drink on my own end with that, or possibly smoke something or something. Going out on the front lawn and smoking some grass, and I don't mean some hash, if you get what I'm saying, to try to piece this together in line, right? Because it's falling off the cards and dominoes and all the rest. It's falling off the side of the table. Let me see. Family murder by Watts. The family murders by Watts. Yes, including the kids. Okay, so the alleged murder of Watts' two daughters, 3-year-old Celeste and 4-year-old Bella. This whole ordeal, in fact, resembles Scott Peterson. Remember that situation, Scott Peterson? Not too many people know, and yet others, in fact, do. Scott Peterson. This is the same type of ordeal. This Colorado killer, Scott Watts and Chris Watts. Why I say Scott Watts? I'm sorry, Chris Watts. And you set that side by side with a Scott Peterson, it's almost the same situation. Because Scott Peterson was charged back in 2002 for murdering. Yes, Scott Peterson murdered his pregnant wife back in 2002. He was charged with all that and all the rest with that, right? The similarities of a Scott Peterson and Chris Watts. The similarities, case by case. Scott Peterson's case resembles, yes, I just stated that, because the reason why is his mistress. Scott Peterson, though, yes, he in fact murdered his pregnant wife, and I stated that, right? And then you got Chris Watts that murders his wife and kids. They both in fact had a mistress. Which led to the wives and kids being murdered. That's the 4th time that I repeated. That's heartbreaking in itself. I'm just saying, the reason why I'm repeating, yes, with that, I'll almost use something I was going to say appropriation. That is off the hook appropriation pertaining to the mistress. That's out of context it is. You in fact use that sort of thing like cultural appropriation, such as white folks and black folks, and say, yes, white folks or whoever, or other races or whatever nationalities of people taking and using stuff of black folks and stuff like that. The appropriation culturally, right? That's almost fitting in itself when you fit Scott Peterson side by side with even, yes, a Chris Watts appropriation or something. I'm saying basically something was borrowed or taken or something, and that the crime could be how that might have been set up. Appropriation. Out of context. I'm creative in wording, is what I'm trying to say. Being a creative writer and seeing that more than likely the crook in the photo which it stands borrowed that ideal from even a Scott Peterson. He had to or something. Because it sits too close in identity, their own, right? But yeah, so that's heartbreaking in itself. Yes, Amber Frey. Why I say Amber Frey? I'm sorry. Amber Frey shared the motive of Scott Peterson killing Lacey Peterson and the unborn baby who died of the couple. Yes, the baby within Lacey's womb, right? Lacey Peterson. Amber Frey, she stated the motive of Scott Peterson. Amber Frey stated the motive of Scott Peterson killing Lacey Peterson and that unborn baby of Lacey Peterson's. She stated the motive Mistress. What is so special? I mean, what can a mistress bring to the table? Even in motive. Yes, the answer, and yet, and even with that, what still, even before the death is to happen or take place, what is so special about the mistress, and what does she provide outside of sex? What can she give? Even a Colorado killer, or even what could she have given a Scott Peterson? We know sex was there, yes, but what else? Could it have been emotional ties or something? That's why people cheat too. It's been known. Forming emotional ties with other individuals is how people cheat too. And sometimes don't have sex or even enter a bedroom, such as lay in the bed while cheating. To lean too much on somebody for support is to know emotional ties can be binded in that. And even cheating can lead to sexual tendencies with that. But not all the time. No, not all the time. No. So the whole time Scott Peterson stated his innocence, and I have to bring this in despite me talking about the Colorado killer, this still points in, so I got to keep going with direction with that. So the whole time Scott Peterson stated his innocence, but was convicted in 2004 with first-degree murder and second-degree murder of Connor's killing. Why are you killing your wife and your newborn baby and needing to be sentenced with that? I mean, that's a heartless individual to want to kill a newborn baby knowing that your pregnant wife is standing there. That's completely cold-hearted and calculating, is what I'm trying to say. That's sad. Scott Peterson, of course, yes, is on death row in California. He need to be put to death as well. All these sort of people need to be put to death because, see, not have respect for a baby boy that was supposed to be your son, newborn, and yet he was yet to be born, right? As to say you don't even have respect for human life. Dear Scott Peterson. And so that's why he need to be put to death, because it ain't like it was an issue. Say you just hate it. Whatever maybe he did pertaining to his wife, but I'm saying having issues with a baby where you, a Scott Peterson, got drama with a newborn baby just enough to kill it. Like, what is the point in that? I've been known to crack some very shabby jokes, even in my past, girls I had hatred with. Girl, I will kick you in this, and they was pregnant and all that. I'm real with even that, as in me telling my own crooked side of what I said in the past pertaining to people I've hated, right? But you don't want to be doing that sort of thing when you're the father of the child. That shows you never cared to begin with. You didn't want the baby to begin with. So yes, a legal analyst, right? And legal experts, yes, genuinely feel Watt's mistress could prove to be a witness enough to bring him to prosecution. That's in fact what those legal teams in fact feel. They genuinely feel that. Watts, let me go back, yes, because I just rewind the tape back. I'm sorry, I should have told you I was going there. But we're now speaking back about the Colorado killer. Yes, Chris Watts himself. The legal teams, legal experts and all the rest, they genuinely feel that Watts' mistress, Chris Watts, could prove to be a witness enough to bring him to prosecution. Well, what's the issue? What's taking so long? I mean, I'm thinking a stoning to death would have been a lot more less gentle, easier, quicker, and even possibly even more cleaner with the cleanup process. More so than the electric chair, seeming that sort of thing don't really exist. It should, right? The hell chair should in fact continue to exist, and yet it doesn't for many states. The electric chair. The stoning process of a man that loves to kill newborn babies should in fact play out. I'm saying for these type of people, they should in fact do it like they used to do in the olden days. The older, back in the wise age days before the digital age, even before then, where they used to stone people for these sort of acts. That should in fact take place for not only a Scott Peterson, but yes, Chris Watts as well. Killing newborn babies and little, 3 and 4 year old children with that type of thing. There should be set up where the justice system should set that up again, as in reorganize with that over the play set. Yes, and possibly playpen, but I don't mean a prison cell where even the public should be allowed to stone these sort of individuals to death. I'm raw in the law by ways of the mouth, as in how I speak. It should in fact take place. So, Weld County. Some people will say Weld County, but I'm saying Weld County because I'm country, right? Colorado. Weld County District Attorney's Office, yes, was in fact contacted, and what they said was we're not able to confirm if there was a specific person involved in the case. Yes, for reason of an ongoing investigation of the case. Weld County District Attorney's Office stated that sort of thing upon contact, that they weren't able to confirm if there was a specific person involved in the case for the reason of ongoing investigation of the case. I might need, in fact, do more research on my end, because by now, all playing out pertaining to this Colorado killer, I'm thinking even more information might in fact stand there even in today. With it being September 2018, there should be more information. So, should I in fact do a follow-up on this video? Maybe or maybe not, because I took the time to write all this out. And yet, even information on the imprint is constantly being updated, even in relation to criminal crimes and all that. Crimes of passion, this not being one of them. On the end of the mistress, it should have been, right? When she found out. That's funny. But yes, law enforcement in fact know of Watts' attraction for women and men along. Watts in fact was attracted to both, not just women, but he was and is attracted to men as well. Watts, yes, bisexuality, they should have just stated that. I'm saying the bisexuality. You don't just, yes, with me working for Discovery and all the rest, men and women, that's to cut it down, as in to break something down. But for us grown individuals, children, you break stuff down for, and yet even for adults you do, as in when you need to. I know I got to spin back, but with this, because it in fact was in mass media is what I'm trying to say, that this whole Chris Watts story. But I'm saying even on their end, they should have said bisexuality. See, I might in fact say bisexuality, whereas they might not. I could give you lessons all day on end with this sort of thing, and yet I try to keep it short, even pacing the flow of the conversation of me speaking on camera to even out, yes, to you the viewer, as me out in information of why even mass media won't say bisexuality. They will just say men and women, as in an individual having an interest in men and women. I use term bisexuality because anybody will be able to figure it out, yet not everybody can figure that sort of thing out. But in mass media, that's why men and women is there, right? But with us with Discovery, we so complex in mind. Once again, we will say it less gentle by just saying bisexuality and leave men and women out of it. That would just be the end of that, because we like to use big terms, right? But when I went to the source where I went to, yes, pertaining to Chris Watts, that in fact stood there, men and women. Let me not go all the way in on a lesson. Let me not drag you, the viewer, with that sort of thing. But the reason why I was saying the word bisexuality is so important, as it needs to be stated, because as time go on, more things are being accepted as there being an acceptance. And so you might in fact want to not provide the identity crisis. No, you might in fact want to provide that bisexuality is in fact real, as in it does exist. Shouts out to Discovery. Not with that, but even with that, right? But mass media. Bisexuality in a culture full of America and us being groups of people that practice all type of things. You in fact want to know those people are there during. Yes, dear other sources of mass media, with the input, I'm calling and shouting y'all out, even the news. State the title so that we know that these sort of people are there outside of just, it in fact holds a title, despite you not want to box people in. I know I'm getting all off topic with the lesson, and I should, because even that's science with the makeup, DNA, and genes and all the rest, right? But yes, so let me rewind back. Law enforcement, I don't want to lose you, the viewer. I'm sorry. Apologies. So law enforcement know of Watts' attraction for men and women. I should have cited my source, and yet I'm not, right? Because I, in fact, write everything by hand, and yet you got to go to sources as well for more information if you don't know that, pertaining to working in mass media. If you don't know that, I got to call that out. For people that want to work in mass media and yet never went to college for these sort of things, you got to have sources. You can write, yes, but you got to have sources as well. Cite your sources. But yes, once again, so yes, he had an attraction for men and women along with lewd acts, which he enjoys in the mix, including extramarital affairs of all kinds. Not just one kind, of all kinds. He enjoyed all type of things, extramarital affairs of all kinds, which spans all across Weld County in Colorado. So not only did he, yes, practice bisexuality and possibly something more, maybe that could be why some of it was etched out in mass media in relation to that. But for me to rewrite everything that I do and how I write, pertaining to even me working for mass media, right, is to know I like specific detail there. And yet there could in fact be more to even him, Chris Watts himself. Outside of being a bisexual, he might in fact be a pansexual, as in him practicing all, liking to all kind, knowing that you practice all kind of stuff pertaining to extramarital affairs and sex being there with it. Could he be attracted to, say, transsexuals as well? People that are men that like to dress and drag or stuff like that? See what I'm going with this? There's two reasons why information be left out in mass media. I had to state that too, right? And so, yes, he practiced all type of things in the realm of sex and all this bisexuality, the practices, right? And that, in fact, spanned all across Weld County, right? He had all type of loose flings all across Weld County, right? That sort of thing, in fact, will lead to HIV and AIDS, let me tell you. As court documents were available to express that there was even an affair between a co-worker and Watts himself. That's off the hook. This man was all over the county. Yes, he was. I'm throwing what, my notebook paper. Yes, it's clean on it. Yes, it is. It's clean with the steam on even that. Right? As in how I like to write. And so, but yes, there's documentation as in court records pertaining to even him cheating with a co-worker of his. So this man more likely is prone to sexual addiction. And I'm thinking and can believe, more likely, honestly guessing so, that he's in fact infatuated with sex to the point of being a sex addict. Because anytime you got to do sexual things in that manner all across a county, that's to say you're in fact a sex addict or something. Trust and believe HIV could possibly show up on the scene by next year or even later. Who knows, right? Because even HIV, yes, which turns into full-blown AIDS as in a conversion, some of that stuff don't come out till later, as in you can get tested for it. It doesn't show up during the test or on the test or in between the test, right? With all that semen and the rest, right? Shooting out, right? Pertaining to a test, and yet it would make its way later on if you don't practice safe sex, is all I'm trying to say. So yes, on August 15th, 2018, Watts was arrested, in which, yes, there was 9 felony counts that stood before him, which are, yes, in relation to his wife's murder. 9 felony counts stood and stand before him for his wife's murder. The wife of Watts was just 15 weeks pregnant. Yes. And pertaining to the son, what was the son's name going to be while she was 15 weeks pregnant? The wife I'm speaking on. The name of the son was going to be Nico. I was going to say Nico, but Nico sounds more pretty. It livens it up, despite him being dead. That's a beautiful name, Nico. or Nico. I like Nico better, but have it as you will, dear viewer. So, family member Watts told police on a baby monitor contained video of baby Bella, one of his daughters. This man, Colorado killer Chris Watts himself, told police on a baby monitor contained a video of one of his daughters, baby Bella, on her bed as his wife strangled the other daughter of theirs by the name of Celeste. Is this a truth? Because he might in fact need to go all the way up under the grave, as in hit the earth cores. Yes, hit the earth core, yes, and die off, and even that, as in be melted with that sort of thing. This type of people make me not stand them. Can't stand them, I'm saying. So was there or was there not a video? Baby monitor containing all this video of a baby Bella being strangled by her mother, as yes. Or not the baby Bella, but Celeste being strangled by her mother as the baby Bella laid there, because either way, murder points back all the way back to him anyway. That just sounds like a lame ass excuse from his end to try to get off early with a trial date and all that type of stuff, saying that he told police that sort of thing, and yet more than likely he possibly killed all of them. He did. Funny in itself. It's called calling it out. Yeah, so that was in fact a lie of his own. People and the lies that they tell. So Watts said that rage, this man said rage had overtaken him, as in he flew in complete rage and off the handle with that served on top. And I don't mean an ice cream scoop, no. He flew off the handle, which led to him strangling Shannon, his wife, killing her in the process. So see what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about pertaining to who killed the daughter, the little girl, and it more than likely wasn't the wife. It had to be him, because for you to tell police that on a video monitor it's video showing your wife strangling your daughter Celeste, and then come to find out, it's found out later, yes, that you go into a full fit of rage and you strangle your wife. That's to say that your wife was murdered in the same way that your daughter Celeste was murdered. So either he's using that for some cop out or something, trying to make it seem like, well, my wife was strangling my child, so that's why I killed my wife, because she killed my child by strangulation. My wife strangled my child, and so I strangled my wife. And so to help me get less time is to just tell that to police and everybody else, even in examination or cross-examination with that sort of thing or whatever else that goes with it. The conclusion, right? It's how people try to get off with their lies, knowing even that don't make sense. You just wanted to kill. Dear Colorado killer, catch me on a note with even that. And I don't mean a half step with no dance with that. Possibly not even alcohol. And no hoes either, right? But that's just to say you wanted to kill your whole family with that. So you ain't had to be bothered because you just wanted to be a pervert out here loose string. Yes, with sex, action, and material with that. But you didn't want your family to be involved, as in getting rid of them. You just wanted them, yes, to off them. Garbage bag them and all the rest. And ain't saying. The lies people tell, do tell. I'm afraid. No, not completely. I'm unafraid and highly unafraid with that. My lips, I'm saying. I got lips so big they actually fall down and hit the curb. They tell a whole lot, is what I'm trying to say, because it's heavy. The message from my end to yours. So yes, with this whole thing, the murders of the children and the wife and the mistress, after the murders have taken place of the wife and the children, Chris Watts himself, the Colorado killer, loaded the dead bodies of his family into a truck and then drove the bodies to a work site. Yes, he did. And then once he reached the work site with the dead bodies in the truck, he buried his wife in an area surrounding 2 oil tanks. That's where he buried his beloved wife. Shows you how much he cared for her, right? To bury her next to some oil tanks is to say, Well, you might, in fact, blow up with even that dear September 11th and some, yeah, with that. So, to bury the wife next to 2 oil tanks is to know he didn't care, right? With the promiscuous activity with that. He then, yes, threw his 2 daughters inside of an oil tank. Inside of the oil tanks, I'm sorry. How do you bury your wife next to 2 oil tanks and then throw your 2 daughters inside of the actual oil tanks that your wife is buried next to? Who does that sort of thing? You throw your dead children inside of oil tanks? That sort of thing carry a lot of residue, and not only that, possibly a sinking to the bottom, such as lifeless children. And police and everybody else and coroner's office, everybody having to go in to get those children out of those oil tanks. That's a mess in itself. It's messed up. So Watts, his mistress, those were in fact throwaway babies, his babies that he chose not to love, admire, and cherish. Why so many people wish that they can in fact have babies without laying down with a mistress, right? Or whatever. So Watts' mistress holds no doubt that he's guilty. She in fact, the mistress in fact feels that he's guilty for the murder of his family. She should herself have felt guilty right when she was laying down, knowing something was wrong with the man, right? So the mistress stated she feels the murder ordeal could have been her. That's what the mistress feel. It could have been her. The situation could have, yes, changed cards on even that. And the mistress herself could have died in the process. And so therefore she feels sympathy for the family, knowing that them dying in the way that they did by the hands of, yes, a cold-hearted killer, Watts himself, especially his 2 daughters of all people, Celeste and baby Bella. The mistress feels he would have just taken her out on dates. She basically what she feels is she feels sympathy. That's what the mistress is trying to play over the deck of cards on her own end. You never know what more stands there. I said that already, the mistress, right? But she also feel he shouldn't have did all that. He should have just taken her out on dates secretly, him and the mistress, and let that be the end of that, as in to let the family survive and not waste their lives off with that. She just feels that they just, yeah, should have went out on dates instead of him killing the family. Because with her, I'm thinking and sensing if he didn't want nothing to do with her completely outside of sex, him not wanting to do with the mistress, yes, it's to go back to my opening of even the mistress asking why was he there? Sex again. And yet even her closing lines is off. The mistress, I'm saying. It's completely off. It's unfashionable, the mistress, I'm trying to say, in relation to that sort of thing. Because it to be a whore, well, I was going to say to be a whore, once a whore, always a whore. I was going to say that, and yet that's not always true. I'm saying I might want to, in fact, fix my lips with even that by cleaning up that, because some people would, in fact, be watching me, and they might, in fact, be whores, and they don't want me to talk like that to them. And yet, that mistress, something about her closing statement don't even sound right or something. I don't know. I'm thinking she would want to say a lot more. As even to why she did it. We back at the opening, despite it being a closing, as why she did it, as took the time. That she knew he was married. I'm sure, ain't no, at that age, not saying that all grown men at that age is married, no, but still. I doesn't believe she knew he was married or something and covering herself in a lie with that. People get in bed with people, cheat with them, and then lie after murder has been committed so that they ain't got to go to jail is what I'm trying to say. So I think that's all to be said. So, yes, live right now is in fact Disappeared, the show. Recommended for you. Shouts out to Paula. Shouts out to Lieutenant Jokinda as well. Homicide Hunter to be exact. Evo Lives here for description. Scroll over, click here for favorite. Fatal Vows. You got Red Rum, Blood a Go original. Hey, shouts out to a player, one that don't exist and yet it does. Discovery Go, such as the app and the ID Go. Hey, I know my slang even in that. It's smooth. On the operator. Smooth operator. Shouts out to Sade. Yeah, so add to watch later. Click this to play button. To Catch a Killer is in fact what stands before your very eyes. Season 1, Episode 1. Twisted Sister, Season 1, Episode 1. Blood Runs Code, Season 1, Episode 1. Any one of these you can, in fact, yes, come and check out with that. On last night, Fatal Vows. To click the key on the sign in is to know you gotta in fact provide your provider, as in whoever you, yes, go through with the TV remote control with that, as in to gain access to get into this sort of thing. You need that for that. Many of these in fact have the key. This is all on last night. This one doesn't. To Catch a Killer right here doesn't in fact have the key. But for me to impress is to show off. I'm saying, because that even makes it hot, showing off what's available with even Discovery. Hey, Discovery got so many names and so many businesses and so many this and so many that. Right. It helps us stay and be married for life is all I'm trying to say, which is why I'm here to begin with. I'm with Discovery for life. This is a lifelong process. With that added on top. Schedule preview. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't. Because when I die out and be laid to rest, Discovery gonna be right there with my mug shot. Yes, as it's gonna be blended in with the casket, as it's gonna be fitted on the casket, is what I'm trying to say, pertaining to how my casket is gonna look. I want some photos printed out of my beloved face, of a mugshot or something, all over the casket, in place of wood and all that other stuff. I might in fact go for chrome, as in the same type of chrome used to made and bury 9mm, if you got my drift with that. So yes, the crime feed. Click here. Shouts out to Nick Nolte in a swimsuit. That is so funny. He looked like something from Florida, or something that would be in the Florida news. Because Florida news is nasty at that. His face, though. His swimsuit. Hope he got protection. And I don't mean a lawsuit. But yes, to click on this is to be driven outside to the crime feed. Crimefeed.com if you got me on that one. To receive a newsletter is to type in your email address and click next. And you would in fact have it sent your way with that. Helps to run around the corner. A few rings with even my mouth. I just did. So I think that's all for now. I want you, the viewer, to tell me what do you think and perceive about either a Scott Peterson, Lacey Peterson, Scott Peterson, along with their unborn baby, that situation. What do you think about that mess? And also tell me, you, the viewer, what you think, sense, and believe and feel about this mistress and her now walking away, moving on with her life, and the moments and yes, pleasure that she played with this Scott, or not Scott, I'm sorry, with Mr. Watts, Chris Watts, and him killing his children and wife. What do you think and sense and believe about that? To be cold-hearted is to say. So yes, I think that's all be said for now. I'm closing out. This is a shutdown approach, as in I'm gone.